in Southwark?
Me?
Yeah.
I've lived in Southwark for about 55 years.
Oh, wow.
Wow. I have lived in Southwark for about 6 weeks.
Oh, really?
I'm very new. I'm very new to the borough. I've lived in Lewisham about 20 years, but I've lived in Southwark for about 6 weeks. So what would you say are the good things about living in Southwark that I'm about to enjoy?
Come and join us. Come and take a seat. What's your name?
Wayne.
We're talking about what's it like to live in Southwark. Come and join us. Give us we're talking about what is it like to live in Southwark. Give us a minute of your time. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it
No,
like?
hang on, she says.
As someone who's lived in Southwark for 55 years, what would you say are the good aspects? We hear a lot about the bad aspects, and everybody runs down the place that they live in. But what would you say are the good aspects?
You know, just one sec, we've got a new face at the table. What's your name?
Yeah, Wayne.
So we got Wayne here, and we're talking about, you know, what are the benefits? What's it like living in Southwark? You know, you've been living here for 55 years. How long have you been living here for?
22 years.
22 years, so that's quite a significant amount of time as well. I mean, what has it been like growing up here in Southwark?
It's okay, actually, to be truthful. I don't want to downplay the borough, you know.
Was this a good borough to be young in?
Yeah.
Was this a good borough to be young?
That's a
Tell me a bit about your youth, and don't leave out the saucy bits.
Oh, no, I can't do that on air.
Yeah.
They'll have to be...
Yeah.
What kind of a place was it when you were young?
I can't remember. Actually, it was very, very nice, I must admit. It's a nice borough to live in.
What was nice about it?
Well, I think in them days when I was young, it was a long time ago, I forgot most of it, but there were much more facilities for the youth. There were things to do for the youth. There was youth clubs and much more, you know, much more. And there was this value of people that I keep on about, that, you know, people valued people. The council valued people. There was much more community spirit and neighbourness, but that's not really from the council. That's just life, wasn't it? I mean, those kind of things have changed all over London, you know, in a political way, but the council have actually helped. I think they've added to the detriment of all that, you know, to the loss of all that, because you know, whether things change, the council can still keep family values and values, can't they? You know, but it is a nice borough. You know,
I just want to bring in Wayne here.
It's just
what
the
do you
politicians
think
who
about,
have a problem
like,
with.
What was it like growing up in Southwark?
A lot of ups and downs, you know. Like, a lot of gangs, a lot of trouble, but it's changing now.
Yeah.
Southwark's a good place to live in.
Yeah.
And
so what are some of the improvements that you've seen?
new houses, like new residents, like nice people.
Yeah.
It's just getting better and better.
So it's still a nicer place to live than it was.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely changing.
What are some of the things that you'd like to see in Southwark, you know, within the next 5 years?
More youth centres for the kids, you know. You know, it's just progression, isn't it?
Progression.
Yeah.
So, but
because the kids are our future.
It's going in a positive direction for you.
Sorry?
At the moment, it's going in a very positive direction.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's quite refreshing to hear. I mean, there was a lot of talk earlier about the elephant and castle, and a lot of people saying that, you know, although they want it to be improved, they're not sure about whether or not they're going to be
I think it should.
What do you think about this shopping centre? Do you like it? Oh, come and give it. Oh yeah. Come and give us a minute. Oh, it looks like you got some bargains in there. Give us a minute of your time. I might need to pop over to Clark's and get some myself, to be honest with you. Is that size 7?
Yes.
That's mine. Oh, I might have to squeeze my feet in there. What's your name?
Hayley.
We got Wayne. We got
Jackie.
Janet.
And Lynn. We got Lynn.
Yes, I'm Lynn.
Jesse.
Elam, this is Talkaoke. It's a pop-up talk show. And you can talk about absolutely anything. You can take the conversation wherever you want to go. At the moment, we've been talking about, you know, Southwark, and how for Wayne Southwark's it's getting so much better. You know, growing up there was a lot of gangs, a lot of violence, and now there's a lot of cool people coming in. For her, she said that growing up in this borough was lovely. It was very neighbourly. There was a lot of community spirit. I mean, what do you think? Did you grow up in this area?
No, so I'm actually here to kind of explore the area today.
Oh, really?
So it's quite unfitting because I don't really know much in terms of like long term how it's changed. So yeah, it's quite interesting to have a. That's purely why I'm here actually. So I've had some food at the artworks. Yes, so I've been and had some food at the artworks just down there, and I'm just like, exploring basically. So
why this area? Why did you choose to sort of explore this area?
just because I've heard a lot about it really, and I was just quite interested to do a bit of exploring, and there's a lot of universities and things around. So.
And where are you from? Where are you?
I actually live in South East, but I live more towards Lewisham.
Okay then. Okay.
So it might be an area that I look to move to in the future as well. So.
What have you seen today that sort of like appeals to you?
I mean, there's a real mix of housing for one, which is interesting, but also, I mean, there's loads of food places, the transport links are good, it's really diverse as well, which is what I like. It's quite an interesting place, and it's got cheap shoes and Clark's outlet.
Well, according to yourself, do you think when this community gets redeveloped, we'll have things like the Clark's shop? So where many people do you think that will be one of the things that goes as well?
It takes to redevelop.
Well, I mean, they haven't said what we're going to have. Nobody knows what we're going to have. And to me, it's going to be like big chains, big, Starbucks, Costas and all that kind of thing. It's going to be gentrification. And, I mean, I'm not too bothered about Clark's, to be personally truthful, because they're a chain, so they can look after themselves. We are not going to have, in the new centre, any independent traders, small traders, BME businesses. We're not going to probably have little shops that serve some of those communities. And where are those communities going? Like, for instance, we've got a strong Muslim base here. Where are they going to go to get their halal meat? Are they going to have halal meat in the new town centre? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Thinking of that coming up.
I suppose you can get halal meat from Tesco and Sainsbury's these days, but I know what you mean. The independent, that's more important. I hear that.
Businesses, they've made that quite clear that they don't. More or less, they're not welcome, because who's going to, you're not going to get a big name or attract anyone with those kind of businesses in. Well, what kind of message does that give these poor businesses that have been serving the community all these years? So I don't know what we're going to have, but whoever we have is not going to be affordable for me. I don't know, it might not be affordable for you.
I mean, since you're someone who's sort of looking at the area to sort of see whether it's a place you want to move to, what kind of things do you look out for when moving to a new area?
It's difficult. I think it's got to be an area with balance, for one, which is really important. And I think you're right in the sense that, if everything's a chain and it's unaffordable, then that's a really difficult position. I think it has to be an area of balance, and I think there are areas where people have massively got that right in London, and there are areas where perhaps they haven't. So I think that is something that's really important, actually.
Yeah. I mean, if you weren't from Southwark, where would you want to live?
Probably Birmingham.
Birmingham.
Yeah.
Why Birmingham? What is it about
It's such a
Birmingham?
lovely area, lovely city. Yeah.
So what does Birmingham have that Southwark doesn't have?
A lot of more shops, but the shops close quite early up there. So
So that's the downside.
Yeah, that's the downside to it.
So if not Southwark, Birmingham, that's where you're heading.
Yeah, definitely. Cheaper as well.
It shows how difficult it is to please all the people, because you've got people who want small independent shops, you want somebody who wants bigger, smarter, glossier shops, and it's trying to make sure that everybody feels that there's somewhere for them.
Jackie, sorry, we've got that here. We've got chains here, we've got small traders, we've got everything here. We need some better shops here and some bigger things. So that's what we're saying. In the new town centre, we are, in this centre, we are we are helping everyone. There's a balance.
So you're saying that
we've got the shops that serve the Latin community. We've got Latin, the Latin community. We've got a large Latin community here. We've got their restaurants. They've got their shops. We've got a large Bengali shop, community. Everything's being served in this in this centre. With a few, it's a bit lacking. It is a bit lacking, and it does need.
Just hold that thought. I'm just going to get a final thought from Wayne on this side. Let's get a final thought about anything you've kind of heard.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I just came walking past, saw you was filming.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? Let me say my say, innit?
Yeah,
Because I'm a
yeah.
resident around the area.
No,
So,
definitely, and I'm quite. It's quite good to sort of hear that you are seeing positive change and you're liking the way things are.
Yeah, I'm loving the way the Elephant Castle is changing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
gonna be called Elephant Park, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, so there's a chance it might be called Elephant Park.
Yeah, that's what
not
they're saying.
Elephant and Castle. So where would your vote go?
Well, my role go.
Your vote go? Elephant and Castle or Elephant Park?
Elephant Park sounds more posh or like more new.
Right. Come and join us. Are you from? If you don't.
Don't be shy.
So yeah, no, thank you very much. I'm quite interested about that. You got? Let's get a final thought from you before you leave us.
No, well, I'm happy I joined in because it's nice to speak to people who actually are from the area originally, and I think it's like, as this lady's rightly saying, it's important to encourage, positive change if there is going to be change, but not push people out at the same time. But I think for any sort of council government, that's that's a difficult challenge.
Exactly,
so hopefully it's done in a positive
Hopefully it will
way.
be like a nice balance.
Yeah, it has to be a good balance. So it'll be interesting to see how change continues.
Yeah,
really.
well, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Actually, we
Nice to
appreciate
meet you.
it. Nice to meet you too. Is Elephant and Castle a great place to live? What do you think? Is it? What about Southwark? Are you from Southwark? Were you born here? Were you born in Southwark? Where were you born? Come and tell us. What were you going? Are you going to the Clark's outlet today, or? Okay, no worries. Next time, on your way back. Yeah. So, how interesting! I didn't know that there was plans for Elephant and Castle to be called Elephant Park. That's quite interesting, actually. How whenever they want to gentrify an area, they sort of put village or park at the end of it. It's as if it's sort of trying to sort of appease a certain. Anyway. Any thoughts about this?
Hello, about what?
About what would you choose, Elephant and Castle or Elephant Park?
I think the tube station's called Elephant and Castle, and it's always going to be Elephant and Castle. I can't. Will they change? Do you think they'll change the name of the tube station?
There'll be a political. They haven't discussed with us if they're going to change the name.
Come and join us.
Because we're still going to be the Elephant Castle, but they probably will.
Let me just tell people what this is. This is Talkaoke. It's a pop-up talk show. At the moment, we're talking about Elephant and Castle and all the changes that it's going through. Southwark Council, do we like Southwark Council? I mean, yeah. Pardon?
Winnie, I thought you looked like Oprah Winnie. You want to be like Oprah Winnie, don't you?
Oprah Winfrey. Oh, there can only be one Oprah Winfrey. I wouldn't want to sort of step in her shoes. But yeah, I mean, I can see you're holding a book that says, come and join us. Give us a minute of your time. Are you from the borough? And what are you doing here today?
Just come to the Elephant and Castle to do some shopping.
Do some shopping.
Yeah.
We got a few new faces at the table. Let's get around the names.
I'm Jackie.
Janet.
Christine.
Mikey.
Liv.
No,
Jesse. I'm Anna. This is Talkaoke. It's a pop-up talk show. You can talk about absolutely anything. Wow, today we've spoken about so many different things, from the perception of young people sort of being vilified in the media, to people being kicked out of London, to the shopping centre. What's going to happen? What's the future of the shopping centre? To Southwark Council, do they incorporate their residents as much as they should in their sort of development plans? Do you have any thoughts on some of these things?
I would like to see the Elephant and Castle stay as it is, the Elephant and Castle, but upgraded. Because I've been shopping here for the last 35 years. I am accustomed to the Elephant and Castle. I don't mind anything that's new and upgraded, but I wouldn't like them to move away. Move the Elephant and Castle away. We have a really nice bingo house upstairs. Very friendly.
Bingo house.
Bingo. bingo house, the hall upstairs. There's a lot of people come from all around London to visit, to play bingo, and I think that would be a nice thing to keep, as well as just revamp the shops and update them.
So it just needs a revamp. I'm actually quite interested to sort of find out about all of the different shops and services that are here. So you said that there's a bingo hall upstairs. I mean, how often do you go there?
As much as I can.
Yeah.
When I'm free to go, I visit the bingo a lot, because that's where I spend my free time. I'm now a retired person, and I just.
And what is it about the bingo that you like, other than the hopes of winning?
Well, you don't win.
Yeah.
It's just you meet a lot of people, and you can intermix with them, and you get friends. But those who are not friends that you take at home, but those that you can talk to, sit down, socialize.
So it's kind of a way to sort of socialize.
Yes.
You know that you might not win, but it's just great to sort of check up on what so and so is sort of doing, and you know where they are at. What I mean, you mentioned that there's like some Colombian, Latin American food places upstairs. Have you spoken to these communities?
I've been there. I think it's one of the only places that I go to, that and the Polish place, but now that's moved out. It's just across the road now.
Right. Oh, really?
But, you know, I think that's the thing, is that there's so many different types of, like there's this one here. Which is more of a kind of Indian thing, but it's so many, you could get any kind of food here. And that, to me, that's mostly, I don't come for anything else. I don't like shopping. I don't like Tesco's, so I never go to Tesco's. But I go to all the different restaurants.
So you come here because of the food. You know, that's your sort of reasons for coming here. What did you like the Colombian food that you tried upstairs?
There's a lot of avocado that I like.
Right.
It's big on avocado, which I think is these days is considered a superfood.
So do you like avocado then? Do you like avocado?
Yes, I love avocado.
Wow.
I come here for the jewellery.
Oh.
I get seduced by all the gold and the bling bling bling. I love it. So
definitely. That's the reason why you come here.
And the bags, because you know I'm female, so
you like a good handbag.
Yeah, I like a handbag.
Wow. And you've been living in this bar for 6 weeks, you said. So what are some of your impressions over the last? What have been some of your impressions of the area over the last 6 weeks?
Lively. I like a borough that's got a bit of oomph about it, and Southwark's got a bit of oomph. People are generally quite friendly. People nod. People nod to each other in the street, which I appreciate. I quite like it when people acknowledge that there's another human being interacting with them in a public space.
Wow.
There was a National Hello Day one day this week, and people at work started saying hello, and I thought,
oh wow,
okay, like they don't usually say hello to me. But it needs to be a National Hello Day every day.
With
a
so
smile.
True. It's so true. So people are really friendly here. Wow, that's quite good to know that people actually still say hello to each other.
Just nod.
And like acknowledge.
Just nod, raise your eyes, whatever you do to say hello.
Because oftentimes when I do this Talkaoke, people talk about the fact that people don't talk to each other in the streets anymore, and people are so unfriendly. So it's quite refreshing that this borough still holds on to that, you know?
It starts by looking in the mirror. If you expect people to smile and nod at you, how often do we smile and nod at other people? I think we get lost in our phones, for example.
We kind of get lost,
Mobile phones has actually damaged that, hasn't it? Because people...
Wow. So people on their phones, you know, that kind of...
I mean, I think there should be a way, if they're so clever at designing phones, they should design a way for you to be able to look at people and use the phone at the same time.
Yeah, maybe there could be like a sensor on the phone that sort of buzzes whenever you come near someone.
Or maybe it could sort of, rather than sort of, maybe it could be on the glasses or something like that, so you don't you can look at people at the same time.
Well, that sounds good.
Maybe you should just use your phone when you've stopped, but actually walking and using the phone leads to accidents.
As we've seen, you know, a lot of people have lost their lives from doing that. So yeah, I mean, where do we want to take this conversation? You know, we can take wherever we want to take it. We can continue. Hey, how's it going? What do you want to talk about today? Yeah, so we can talk about
political leadership of our council. That's
political
what I
leadership
talk about.
of the council.
But it's probably a taboo subject.
You know what? I kind of want to know what these guys are having for lunch. You know, what are you getting for lunch up there? It's an Indian place, okay. But I can see paninis.
Are you wanting to steer away from that question of the political leadership?
No, actually, I just wanted to sort of diversify the topic.
The council. Let's talk about the direction of the council that they're going in.
Yeah.
And they're getting away from this.
What direction do you feel that they're going in?
Well, they're going into, you know, as I said earlier, you know, they're getting away from a social conscience into, well, having no conscience, to be truthful, because I don't think they have got a conscience.
Yeah.
I sometimes wonder how they sleep at night.
Yeah.
But, you know, for a borough that is, you know, the makeup is kind of like social sort of thing. You know, the direction is all wrong.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that a lot of the councillors live in Southwark?
Well, I think they have to, don't they? They can't be a councillor otherwise. They can work in Southwark. Right. I think most of them do, to be truthful, to be fair. They don't necessarily live in the ward that they represent, but they don't, you know, as I said to the lady earlier, they don't, apart from their surgeries that they have once a month, when do they actually meet their constituents?
Right.
How do they
So they need to be a bit more like active and out there. Do you think that the Southwark Council is going in the right direction? Do you think they care about the people, you know? What do you think? Do you think Southwark Council is going in the right direction? You know, do you think they care about the actual people that live here? Are you from Southwark? Are you from Southwark? Do you live in Southwark? Yeah, come and join us. We're talking about whether or not the council are going in the right direction. Are they valuing the people who actually live in the borough? You know, what's their agenda? You know, this is Talkaoke. It's a pop-up talk show. And wow, we've been talking about so many different topics, from what's going to happen to the Elephant and Castle.
I mean, from my point of view, I'm kind of on the one hand, you know, you read all these articles about stuff getting sold off or whatever.
Yeah.
When I've actually talked to quite a lot of the councillors, and they seem to be, I'm not saying, I don't know how this works, they seem to be very concerned about people's lives, and they seem to be in it to make a difference.
Yeah.
So I know those two things don't add up, but that's just the impression that I get, and I don't. I mean, I'm more so maybe talking about Hackney. I met the new mayor of Hackney, and he said to me, "I'm really concerned about providing more housing and making social housing better in Hackney." And he seemed to be genuine about it. But then you look at the reality
of the situation.
Yeah.
So is it that they are good? What do you think? Let me get your opinion. What's your name, by the way?
It's Agostino, my name.
Agostino. I mean, what do you think? Do you think that the councillors are genuine? Do you think they actually care about providing decent housing for the residents? Or do you think they're good actors, you know?
I just arrived here in this area. I'm not from London.
And what are some of your impressions? Where are you from?
I'm from Italy.
Italy. And why did you decide to come to this area?
I really like South London in general, the cultural diversity of this area. And I think it's really interesting to be here.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking a lot about the social housing here, and I think it's a problem.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I think that the urban planning of the new London is not the best way to improve the city.
Yeah.
For example, this area, Elephant and Castle, I think should be protected and shouldn't be improved. And gentrification is not the right way to change
to develop the area.
Yeah, to develop.
I mean, what would you see, like, you know, coming from elsewhere, how would you, you know, what would you see as the best way to sort of develop the area? A lot of people say that it does need developing, but as you said, gentrification is not the right way. Like, how would you envision development of this area?
For example, I think this market is a really important meeting point for the community of this area, and I think that demolish this shopping center is not the right way
to develop it. I mean, what do you think? I mean, what is the right way? That's a good question. What is the right way of developing this shopping centre? What do you think?
There are a number of shops in the Elephant Centre that are really essential to the shopping for people, the ordinary people. We've got everything, food, pharmacy, books, which is really encouraging for the kids. They have other little haberdasheries and other little stores that sells, but it would be nice to have maybe, it's not really a what you call it? One of those. One of those. Up in Stratford. You don't need to have one of those.
It doesn't need to be one of those,
You know, but you need to have a nice shop where everybody can shop.
Where
I have been living in this area for the last 40 years. So I kind of grew up here. I trained at Guy's. I worked for the last 37 years. I am now a 70-year-old, retired, and I retired because I had breast cancer and had my right breast removed, and hence the reason why now I've got all the time, because I've only just recently retired last year. And I believe that it's really convenient for me to come to the Elephant and actually be able to go into different stores and shop. I would have to take the train and go, but maybe I'll probably stick in my church area, because St. Matthew's Church in the Elephant is my church.
You'll still sort of stay around the
I have
local
3 children.
area.
I brought them up there, and I'll still be around here for as long as
you're able
to.
So no matter what, you're still going to sort of stay around here.
And Southwark is really, it just needs some housing.
Affordable,
and something to interest the youngsters.
Right, so there's not enough for young people.
Because I find that if there was an outlet for the youngsters, we wouldn't have so much knife crime, so much all of nonsense.
All of the violence that's taking place.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna grab Mikey's.
No, I just wanna. Sorry. What's your name? What's your name? What Christine said is, right on the point, but I just want to pick up the question about the creativity. Because you were talking about like shops that where you can sort of make your own stuff and things like that. And I think that it's been said already that if we had more creativity here, like art, like music, like events, stuff happening around these restaurants, and I think that would be the answer to actually grow this community.
Well, what kind of, when you say creativity, like what would you want to see? What kind of, hey, come and join us. What kind of creativity would you want to see?
Well, I think I just said it, just like, you could have stuff based on all the different, like there's a Colombian restaurant, so maybe a Colombian music or something like that. There's a Polish restaurant, so some kind of Polish festival, get those cakes out there, and all those kind of things.
So sort of have some kind of festivals taking place. I think that sounds like a really good idea, actually. I mean, and also I suppose you will make it a destination, give it, What about yourself? I mean, what do you think about this idea of maybe bringing more creativity into the shopping centre? That could be a great way to sort of... Let's get final thought from you before you leave us. Sorry, I'm just going to get final thought from Christine before she goes. About anything you've heard today.
I think the whole... The council need to put more out there to fight crime in the area and help the youngsters, because I think the youngsters that I see hanging around, there must be an outlet to put their energy into, instead of nonsense like having them being on the phone all day.
So maybe that creativity, bringing the creativity to this centre can provide an outlet for some of those young people.
Centers for them to actually go attend and do art, be creative in their own right. Instead of being on the phone, let them probably build a website, do something creative
have some kind of
with
food
their
festival.
time and energy instead of
I can definitely see like a...
The Elephant Castle I love. I just feel that apart from being upgraded, it should stay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Are you leaving as well? Oh, okay then. So I can definitely see some kind of food festival taking place within the shopping centre actually. I think that would be really great. A Polish food festival, Colombian food festival. I think that could be a really good thing. What do you think about that? Maybe bring creativity into the shopping centre could make it more vibrant and uplift it in a way.
I think it could be interesting also because there's the UIL here in Elephant and Castle.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it's important to preserve what's already here. Like, for example, the Coronet Concert Hall that risks to be demolished in the future. So, I think it could be interesting to organize events here in the shopping center.
In the shopping center. And that could make it like a destination. Wow, that's so interesting. Hey, are you from this? Come and join us. We're talking about Elephant and Castle. We're talking about the shopping centre. We're talking about Southwark. We're talking about what people would like to see in the shopping centre. We're talking about the Colombian restaurant upstairs, the Polish restaurant across the road. Should it be gentrified? Should the name be changed? All these different things. Come and join us. What's your name?
My name's Natalia.
Natalia. So wow, we spoke about so many different things from like youth crime to the area being gentrified to people feeling as though they're gonna, once the shopping centre goes, they're gonna lose the community. What do you think about some of these things?
I think it's about time that the local council and the developers that they're working with put their money where their mouth is when they say that it's regeneration, because what we're seeing is gentrification. We're not seeing regeneration. It's not for us, it's for the new influx that are coming in. My area of expertise is food. I've edited cookbooks. I'm working with a new Latin restaurant that's opening near St George's Circus, but that's a different demographic.
Did you say Oxford Circus?
No, near St George's Circus, just down the road from here.
So you're saying that the council are putting their mouth where their money is, basically?
They're not.
It's redevelopment. It's basically
it's gentrification under the guise of redevelopment, because it's not for us. It's for the new influx.
That's the fear that a lot of people have been saying.
I'm a bit tearful actually, because I just think, what was that lady's name? Who just went?
Christine.
I think, as Michael said as well, she's given her whole life to Southwark. She's given her whole life to the borough. She's worked at Guy's. She loves the area. She's contributed to society. She's a lovely lady. She's not well. And we're going back to the main thing that I said, that Southwark just don't, or the council feel like they just don't value people anymore. They don't value her. I don't get it actually. I'm a bit tearful actually. I'm just really. Just going back to this gentrification issue, I've been talking to some council officers here. The issue is the council will deny that they're doing gentrification, and we know it's not a deliberate thing, but it is going on. Well, I'm not going to say it's deliberate. If it's not deliberate, surely, look, you can see it's gentrification. Everyone I speak to says it's gentrification. How do the councillors that are supposed to be sort of, apparently, according to Michael, very caring for us all, how do they not see that it's gentrification and stop it and do something about it?
Is it that they don't see it, or do they see it and don't care?
Well, you called them dopey. I'm not. I agree. You're right. Either they're blind, they're dopey, or they just don't care. And I'm sorry, Michael. I know you've said that about.
1 minute.
you know, that the councillors you speak to, they say they care and they want to improve people's lives. That's just small talk. It's cheap to say that. And they're not going to turn around and say to people, are they, well, I don't really care about the community, I'm only here for the money. You know, they're not going to say that. They talk, like other politicians as well. They're all talking, good at talking, but they don't. Where's the actions? Where? Let's see that. Let's see it in practice.
They're good actors, basically.
Well, let's see it in practice, because I don't think that they come across as genuine to me. I don't, you know, they're just good actors, and they're good at. Or they may be genuinely caring councillors, but then they don't speak up or say anything when they need to. I mean, that lady's really upset me. I'm going to that.
You know what? I'm sorry to hear that, actually, but. You know, being from London myself, I know that it is a emotional topic. You know, people are angry, people are emotional because people's lives and people's communities are being broken, and we've seen what's happened in Southwark already. So I understand why you're feeling so emotional. Come and join us. We're talking about the borough. You know, Do you have any final thoughts before you leave us? Yeah. So I mean, what do you think about what she was saying? Do you think it's that the council don't know about what's going on, or do you think they're blind, they just don't see it? They think that it needs to be redeveloped, but they just don't realise that it's gentrification that they're doing, or do you think it's an intentional thing?
I think it's a combination of things.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to outright accuse certain people.
Yeah.
But it's at least very strange that we see the same pattern being rolled out, almost like some kind of blueprint.
Yeah.
Across London, we are seeing these big shopping malls with, you know, the same brands everywhere. Small businesses are not really being given that much space. And if something new comes in to revitalise the area, that is new. It's not the people who live there being empowered to, you know, maybe even bring their businesses up to a certain standard and so on.
I mean, Mikey was saying before that, you know, because a lot of people around the table were saying that they do want to see it developed, you know, and he was saying that perhaps maybe we need to bring festivals and creativity into the shopping centre. You know, so maybe there needs to be like a Colombian food festival in the shopping centre, Polish food festival in the shopping centre. I mean, your background is food book editing. What do you think about that? Maybe incorporating. What do you think about the importance of food in sort of keeping a community alive? You know?
I think it's vital.
Yeah.
I think it's vital, and I think one of the things that happens when migrants come to another place that they bring with them, because they often have their qualifications kind of ignored and they end up doing more menial jobs. Is their food culture. And it's something that, you know, I was born in this country, my family are from Chile, but I have gravitated towards the places where there is, you know, there's a smaller community here than in the States, for example, of Latin Americans. There's also quite a lot of Africans in this area. There's a lot of Vietnamese in this area, right? And you see it, the first indication of it is the little food stalls that they have, or a restaurant, or something like that, and it's a place where people can socialise together. But it's also that ownership, right? It's not always somebody who's really famous, who's like a kind of another representative to make it palatable for the British public. It's somebody being able to be empowered to make money from their own business, to make a living from their own culture, and to present it and be accepted that way, right? Because otherwise, are we pretending that we're this inclusive society or not, right?
It's just sort
what's the bit that makes it real?
And authentic. Yeah, no, that's a good point, actually. Wow, I mean, what do you think? I mean, you're from Italy. I mean, did you come here to this borough because, you know, you see that your community's here, or, you know, I mean, I suppose you said before that it's a diverse area, that's the reason, that's what drew you to the area. But where are all of these few places going to go if the Elephant and Castle gets knocked down? You know, do you think they're going to put them in different parts of the borough, or, you know, what's going to happen? Because, you know, inevitably something will happen, you know, and I know that the arches behind the centre, I don't know if they're still there, but I see they're occupied by a few food places, Colombian and all sorts of different things. So I mean, what are the people saying there? Do you talk to some of the different food places? What are their fears? What are they anxious about?
There's an organisation, I don't know if you're aware of it, called Latin Elephant.
Oh yeah.
They also show support for a similar and interesting campaign in Seven Sisters called Pueblito Paisa. So that's like an indoor market which is heavily Latin American, big Colombian presence. And actually the UN have issued an edict on that. I don't know if it's called an edict. Basically saying that this form of development is a threat to cultural life, the right to cultural life. And I would like to see similar arguments put forward here and indeed in other places, because that thing is fundamental, and it's something that we've lost a lot in terms of losing public spaces and things like, for anyone of any ethnicity. So, you know, these things have widespread ramifications.
I mean, what impact do you think it will have on the Latin American communities and all the other communities here? You know, if these places aren't protected, and why do we even need to protect these places? Like, if it goes, maybe we can move to somewhere else and set up a new community the same way it got set up here. I mean,
I mean, I think I really appreciate a lot of the things that you've said, because I think, you know, it is absolutely right what you're saying about, you know, about the community and protecting that community, because it's not going to be the market that protects. I mean, when I say the market, I don't mean the market out there. I mean, this market forces is not going to protect any of these small shops or small businesses or the cultures that are around it, because those things have got a culture around them. So we need to protect it one way or another, whether it's the UN doing it or it's done more locally.
No, it's true. No, it's so true. We do need to protect these things, and it only comes from the people coming together that any change ever happens. I mean, I think even the reason why this still exists is because people have been fighting back, and people have been occupying the spaces and showing that I am here, I exist, you know, kind of see me. So, I mean, where do we want to go with this conversation? You know, we've spoken a lot about bringing some food. Maybe we could have a run through some. Oh, Mikey and Rick's are there. But as you can see, that's Elephant Castle Shopping Centre, and there's like a food festival taking place in the shopping centre. So we've got it visualised there for us to see what that possibly could look like.
It's gone to Greg, so we can't.
Oh, no worries. But you know, everyone around the table is really passionate about the area, though. Passionate about keeping it. Oh, does it sound like I'm not okay? Oh, it's fine. It's okay, I'm okay. I've got my sweets, so. Yeah, everyone's really passionate about keeping the area alive and sort of keeping the communities that exist here.
I think that passion is, you know, just listening, I mean, I think just to listen to Christine, I think I sort of agree with Janet that the amount of passion that she's had for this area for her whole life. And, you know, aren't we really harnessing that passion enough? And it's not just her, it's like all the people around here. They may not have loads and loads of money, but they've got an incredible amount of passion and love and desire for this area. And are we really, you know, in a way getting the most out of that?
But how, I mean, how do we get them, like...
I don't know, I don't even know what the answer is, and maybe that's a question for people around the table.
I think one of the ways is to make sure that everybody who feels passionately knows that their voice can be heard. And I think there needs to be lots of different ways in which people can make their voices heard. Not everybody feels comfortable with a microphone stuck in their face and a camera on them, but that doesn't mean that they don't have something to say which needs to be heard. So they've got to be places where people go and they know that they can voice their opinions and that those opinions will be heard by people in positions of influence. And I think that needs to be places where people can go, just have a cup of tea, have a cup of coffee, have a chat, say the things that are worrying them, say the things that they're concerned about in their local area. I think that will help with not just individuals and their mental health, but it will also help with communities, and it will help the local council know that the policies they're putting in are policies that the people want.
So you're saying that the environments that people use, the ways that people sort of let the local councillors know about how they're feeling about living in the area needs to be a bit more different. It needs to be a bit more casual. There needs to be like actual space where people can not just what's those things called once a month where you can meet your counsellor, not just a surgery, but it needs to be sort of more informal environment. You know, I mean, what do you think about that? Do you think that would be a great way to sort of communicate?
I think that in theory it's really important. I think that in practice we've seen these kind of like, entre parentheses, consultation periods before, for example, before what happened to the Haygate happened, you know, displacement of people essentially as well. I don't want to put dampener on it because I don't think that people should give up. Especially, you know, you need to, that feeling of being able to own your community where you live and have some kind of agency in it is really important. But at the same time, I worry that those that do have the final say, let's say, do a lot of piecemeal exercises about listening, and then down the line, you know, for example, the promises about what percentage of new developments will be social housing and what will be private, and then when it comes to the end we find it's the total opposite. There's an interesting project actually that I was looking at in the States, where there was a sort of very I'd say there's a lot of evidence to point that certain councils, both here and around the world, actually deliberately underfund and abandon certain areas for some time until the property prices drop and it's more agreeable for certain developers to move in. What happened in one particular area, I forget which area it was. No, it might have been somewhere around New York, something like that, maybe Brooklyn or one of these kind of areas. A local businessman who'd kind of, you know, he'd started up kind of poor, like a lot of other residents around the area, and built up with his family. He made a presentation to the local authorities saying, look, give me these empty retail spaces and I will curate a set of businesses for you. Taken out of the local community. Don't charge them rent for the first 6 months. And then we'll look at their books after 6 months, see how they're doing, and it's thriving now. It's thriving now. Because there's a financial barrier, there's skills barriers sometimes to people starting something up themselves, and to, you know, there's a lot made of, we want this to look better and we want it to look a, you know, a certain way and function a certain way. There's no reason why the local community can't do that themselves without the right support, with the right support, sorry.
Let's get a final thought from you before you leave us. Any final thoughts about anything you've kind of heard today around the table? You know, what would you like to see in this area? How long do you think you might stay?
From my point of view, I came here in London to study. And I think that this type of urban planning that they organize for this area is related many times to people coming here to work or study. And I think one more very important thing could be to create a different way of planning places for people from other countries to study here. And I think that for example, preserve this place and create it and respect it and how can I say, like show it as a rich thing from a cultural point of view, instead of creating franchising
Right.
shops and other type of shops to attract people from other
So
countries.
celebrate its richness and diversity rather than the corporate kind of commercial shops,
Exactly.
using that as a way to sort of attract other people, like show it for what it actually is. And people like
exactly.
yourself was attracted to this area, so why wouldn't other people be as well?
Exactly.
You know? Thank you very much for your time, you know? But yeah, I think that the point that you was making about what happened in America, I think that's a really interesting point because it kind of shows that sometimes people do have the desire and the passion to sort of like set up a business, but they just don't have the financial resources to do so. So in a way, the council, they also need to kind of give people a platform and opportunity to put themselves out there, really. And also as well, that's kind of interesting how the guy he's a businessman, and he approached the council and came with this idea to sort of redevelop I find that really interesting. So maybe that's what people need to do in a way. I mean, I know there is a charity called Somewhere Too, and basically what they do, I use them as well when I want to put on an exhibition, but they like occupy empty buildings, and if you have like some kind of idea, you rent the space for free. I know they're based in Brixton. So I suppose we need more initiatives like that, really, because there are empty spots that could be filled up, and if they're not being used, why not put like some kind of business there, or I don't know. I mean, I just really like that idea, and I think that would be a great way to uplift the community. Come and join us. This is Talkaoke. At the moment, we're talking about Southwark. There's not really anyone sitting around here, but yeah. Oh, yes, I see. But so what is your kind of hopes for this area?
I would like to see us being able to ride it out, as it were, right? I do see it as, in part, a threat to what's interesting about London, what made us so interesting to the rest of the world as an example of this vibrant city. It's kind of being deadened into this monoculture thing. So I'm hoping that we can kind of ride it out. I know that there's a lot of campaigns going on behind the scenes, to try and fight for preserving the good of what we have. It's just, and you were talking earlier about does it matter if we get displaced, right? What can't we just start again? I mean, in theory we're always going to do that anyway. I think that's what human beings do. But it doesn't mean that it isn't worth trying to fight for what you've got still, because there's a gap that happens in between that stage, right, where money is lost, where it takes so long and so much effort. Maybe people don't have that in them again to build it up again. And also that thing for youth and for elderly people, all those people who kind of need those hubs. What happens to them in the interim? Where's the safety net for them? I don't see it coming from the council.
I mean, it's a bit like what Christine was saying. She goes to the bingo club upstairs because she knows she's not going to win. However, it's a social spot. She can meet friends, check up on people, especially the elderly people. If this person doesn't come for a couple of weeks, then maybe something's not right. And when places like this don't exist anymore, But I mean, I'd be interested to know actually if the bingo hall is in the plans for the new development. Will it still be there? Because I know the bingo hall where I live in Hackney has been closed down, and I know that was such a, like she said, it was a place where people used to come and meet and.
As far as I'm aware, the owner of the bingo hall is one of the main reasons why the shopping centre is still open, because he has been fighting an early end to his lease, I think. Don't quote me on that for sure, but and he's kind of like, no, I'm going to see it to the end and fight it through, and that's allowed everybody else to kind of keep going with their business. That's as far as I understand it. But another thing I'd like to know is who's in charge of the upkeep of this building, because it seems to me like, again, a deliberate dilapidation. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's like the money from each of the rent of the places goes towards it or something like that, but why has it been allowed to get into the state that it's in now? Unless there's an intentional plan behind that.
I mean, I think a lot of people feel it's an intentional plan, but it would be good to know who owns this building.
I think a lot of the things that make London an attractive city for investors and for developers is exactly what is dying in the cultural scene, the art scene, is actually what gives London its value. If you talk to people that work in the financial industry, why do they live in London? Not because or they do make a lot of money, but also it's a cool place to live. That's why there's plenty of people move to Hackney, and probably the same here in Elephant and Castle. But the thing is, there's no one investing in that thing which is the central attractiveness of London.
It's true.
And in the end, it's going to be those investors that are invested in property that are going to end up losing money, because no one's going to want to live here if it becomes a dry cultural desert.
I mean, the thing is, if you can get the same thing that you can get in Hackney, in Southwark, and in Southwark, in New York, and in New York, in flipping New Orleans, then what would be the point in moving here then? Because the way I see it is that, like, nowadays, I mean, I go to Westfield, and if you go Westfield, you get the same shops that you get in New York, and the new buildings look all the same in any new gentrified city. So, like, what's going to bring people to the new place? It's just the same everywhere, you know. So it's boring, and I think ultimately that these councils are going to lose out. So
I mean, I agree. I was in Wembley a while back, a few weeks back, with
Come and
an
join
American
us.
friend of mine, because it was, I don't know, one of these American football things that's starting to become popular over here.
NFL, I think.
It goes over my head, but anyway, the point is that there's, you know, these big new shopping malls, and he'd been around there before, he hadn't seen that. And he said, oh, this is phase, I don't know, something out of 5. And I was like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And he's talking about the same phases of gentrification that have happened to create these massive strip malls and just malls everywhere in the States that swallow up the space for tiny businesses. Now, don't get me wrong, I think actually in the States there's far more room for the tiny business, the small business to kind of like push itself to the front. But again, it's this like blueprint that seems to be rolled out again and again in the same place, and soon there's not going to be much left of interest, and that, you know, I don't know what identikit sells to who, you know.
What could be the new identity of London? You know, what will London look like in 10 years? What will London look like in 10 years' time? You know, I think that's kind of, I always think that's a really interesting question to ask. That how would London be in 10 years' time? What do you think? What will your London look like in 10 years' time? Do you think you'll still be living in London in 10 years' time? Tell us why. Come and tell us why. Will you be living in London in 10 years? What about yourself? Do you see London as a place for you? Do you like living in London? Do you like living in Southwark?
Maybe it's time just to get some final thoughts for this session, but I do think that London is a kind of organism. It's always growing and changing. But that doesn't mean it can't be directed to grow in a particular way. For sure, we need the money and we need the investment and the business. We all need business. But there's a certain way to have a business that will be beneficial for, I think, the community as well.
Okay then, so I think we're going to get a round of final thoughts. What's your final thought about anything we've spoken about today?
It's hard to sum up, but I guess keep fighting. You know, even if it seems like we've lost a lot, there are always cracks, and life finds a way. So, don't give up. Basically, it's, you know, and use the things that are around you. I have just started a free scheme in Bermondsey Community Kitchen. They're giving level 2 professional cookery skills to people from low incomes or barriers to work, things like that. You know, look around, see what there is. You never know. I might even be able to get my own food stall out of it. So,
hey, that sounds really good.
Just ride the wave, because you got it in you more than you think you do.
Yeah. That sounds really good, actually. Thank you. You know what? Thank you very much for your time, because you said a lot of really valuable nuggets of information. And you said that you're a food editor. You edit cookbooks, basically. And where is the new restaurant that you're going to be? That's going to be opening up? You mentioned.
So they're friends of mine. We don't technically have a working relationship just yet, but we're looking to see what we can do together.
And what
it's
kind of food would it be?
Paladar. It's just by St George's Circus, and it is a pan-Latin, so it has ideas from all over Latin America. It is kind of high-end cuisine. You know, it's not the cheapest, but it's well worth it. It's really exciting.
I'm definitely going to be looking out for that one.
It's one of those things that, as migrants, you know, you kind of, there's a lot that's important about preserving your culture.
Yeah, definitely.
But at the same time, once you get to a certain point where you feel comfortable, if you've built enough, you can then be more creative.
You can branch out to new things.
Exactly, and
so
I feel like
the bodeguita, and you can have that kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly. There's a room for all of us. So you know, there's space for all these different kind of ideas, and I'm really excited to see what they do.
Yeah. So. Wow. I'm looking forward to that one. Well, thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Yeah. Well, definitely take one of our cards and follow us online and on all the social medias. And yeah, it's been a really interesting discussion, actually.